request. I love you, Orlando, but don't get too weird on me. And also, please, let's just be respectful of the folks up here, and let's not video this, all right? Take some photos, but let's not put videos out there of this, because who knows what we'll be talking about. All right, so without further ado, make some noise and bring them up together. Give it up for Tom, Cavanaugh and Danielle Panabaker! When you get the script for the season finale, season 3 of The Flash, what were your immediate reactions? Because a lot happened to both your characters. So, immediate reactions, you get the finale script.
Whoa, go. Yeah, I think it was like we were kind of ambivalent, not great. But maybe we could work with it and get it somewhere, I feel, you know?
Yeah, get it somewhere. What happened to HR's drumstick?
What does that mean exactly? Does anybody know?
Everybody has seen up to the finale, right? Shaking his head like, no, I haven't.
Because you're about to, if you want to see it and not know, you got to leave right now.
I think when so many people are crowding the room, they're probably safe. We're in a spoiler-safe zone. They've seen the finale.
Plug your ears.
Jon Snow dies.
All right, so let's go ahead and throw out the audience questions. Right over here. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Okay, so I have a super random question for Tom. Sorry. So I love you as Dr. Wells, but I do know you from Ed. So I was wondering if you had any stories from being on that set, actually, that you could share with us. He probably has none. Tom has no stories ever.
How long is the Q&A?
Not long enough.
Here's the thing. Now we're going to go through, here's what we want. You got to get specific with your questions, because we got to be out of here in 17 seconds. And if I have any stories on it, I can talk all day about that. And everybody here, with the exception of you and maybe a few other people who are a little older, would be very disappointed. You know what? We'll talk. There's a lot to tell. Okay, here's a really quick one. Okay, I want Julie Bowen, the star of Modern Family, bet me $1,000 that I couldn't eat 12-foot-long hot dogs in one sitting. Who ate 12-foot-long hot dogs? She paid up too. I didn't take her money, but I bought pizza for the crew because I'm awesome.
I have to say real quick, I'm so excited to be here. My first convention ever was Megacon 2 years ago.
We're so happy. We're so happy to be together. It's the truth.
Hi there.
Last year when I was here, I got from college on Ed.
Lucky you.
And I don't really think it's technically allowed, but it'd be amazing if I could have another meal.
It's not technically allowed, but I appreciate you. How about a virtual hug? Just, there you go. Hi.
Hi, this is kind of a question for both of you. I was wondering if you had any, words of advice for young, aspiring actors.
Go.
Go. I mean, that's the best advice, is go.
Yeah, go.
Go. Keep going, keep trying, keep putting yourself out there. It can be tough, but follow your passion, do what you love. Just keep going.
Amen to that. Yes. That's exactly right.
How about advice for young aspiring directors? Because you directed an episode of The Flash this season, you've directed on Ed as well.
Segue.
Great.
Good job. Advice for young directors? Well, I don't really have any, because I think everybody has their own way of telling the story. So if you feel like you have a story to tell, that makes you a director. And the best way that you tell your story is the best way for you to direct. The best thing I ever heard about directing was from a very experienced director who had asked me to direct a movie script, and I explained that I didn't know what the hell directing was. And he said the following words. He said, when you wrote the thing, or when you think of the thing, do you see how it looks when do you see how the scene looks in your mind? And everybody will probably say, oh yes. And he said, well, put the camera there. And that's the simplest advice I could give about directing.
Danielle, you're working on this show, and it's a very technically challenging show, but are you watching everything, taking notes, and saying, you know what, I might actually want to step into that director's role for an episode?
Yes. Yes.
I do absorb it all. I love it. I love being on set. I'm fascinated by it all. I love the way all the different departments come together to create, our show. I mean, we have an unbelievable crew, and, our show wouldn't be what it is without them. So I am fascinated by them. I don't know. I joke. I'm like, hey, Tom, if I ever do direct, you're just going to come sit on my shoulder and tell me how to do it, right? Tom and our script supervisor, Lexi. I'm like, Lexi, I'm going to shadow you. Like,
She will, I know you will direct it, and she will be amazing. She'll be great. Her attention to detail, her idea of where the story is, her command of not just one person's storyline, but all the other ones and where they should be and where you should be. Plus, you're visually adapted. When you direct, you'll make all of us sad because we'll be like, well, we're terrible compared to her.
that's not true.
True story.
Who wants to see Danielle direct an episode of The Flash? The monk has spoken, so it is me.
Yeah.
Your role, did you buy a bunch of comic books and read them, or how did you research for your role?
Oh boy. I'm so new to this comic book world. It's been such an incredible education for me. So I have learned a little bit through the comic books, but I also sort of wanted to stick to the material of our script. So I tried to, in filling in all the holes for Caitlin and her stories, stick more to our scripts and the series the stories that we're telling. But I mean, 100%. Like when we redid the Killer Frost costume this year for season 3, I went back and looked at all the different costumes, and I was like, Killer Frost has boots. I need boots. Thank you. I think so too. What about you?
I'm just winging it, man.
With all the different, no surprise with all your different roles. As the Evil Wells, then another Wells, then another Wells.
Yeah. Nothing but Wellses. More Wells than brains. That's our...
All's well that ends well. Both of you guys play multiple versions of the characters, or this dual nature of Caitlin and Killer Frost. Which have you found sort of more challenging as you're switching back and forth, sort of the hero Caitlin or the Killer Frost Caitlin?
To me, I like finding the levels in both of them. I like that this year we got to see Caitlin be a little imperfect. She made some mistakes and she made some bad decisions. And, and then when she became Killer Frost had some moments of softness as well. So to me, that's the fun of it.
The overlap.
Yeah.
You're just very poison, Paulus. Can I just say that? You're just very poison. I mean, that answer was like so good. It's like, I like to find the levels and all that. It's just very smooth. You're very good. You're very good. Yeah. What was the question? Just
He answered it. Yeah.
You fell asleep.
No, I was just sitting mesmerized by how good you were, and I couldn't. Hey, look, there's Waldo. Look, right back there. There he is. I found him. That wasn't hard. Wrong guitar, right? He's in the crowd, and you got to do that. You're standing up and spoiling everything, sir. But a great costume. Oh, that's it's much more difficult now. Meanwhile, back in the Q&A.
Bill, what's a question for her? Let's go over here. You give lots of great speeches, but they wanted to know why you didn't give a speech to Barry at the end of the finale saying, take me to a damn hospital.
I never saw that.
Why did HR not say, run me to a hospital, please?
Yeah, I think that's because that's the kind of stuff that gets a show canceled. When you try to throw too much common sense in there, then it's like, well, I like the stuff, like my main question about the common sense thing is like, how do we feel feed all the people in those cells. All those humans that we capture and stick in a 2-foot by 2-foot cell.
Well, wait, we haven't captured so many people anymore.
How do they go to the bathroom? Well, what about the people that are there? They've been there for 3 years.
We let them all out in season 1, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where's the belly burger? I know.
Wait, there was a deleted scene. I think they released it. Does anybody? Yes? No? Yeah, they did. Okay, so there was a deleted scene where we see Caitlin pushing a cart filled with everyone's food orders, very specific food orders. So, Caitlin the caretaker.
Yeah, they cut that.
I just assumed there was like some sort of super janitor sidekick with like the worst job in the world of cleaning out those cells.
He's like a janitor's sidekick, he's security, and he sucks at all those jobs.
Starbucks doesn't pay very well
The
these
most
days.
inept guy or girl on the Flash is the person in charge of security.
Gunther.
People just walking in and out of that place, finishing everybody's sentences, walking in Starlab, walking out of Starlab.
The acoustics of Starlab.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Hello.
I want to say, great job on directing episode 19 of this season of The Flash, the one future Flash. With that also, I was thinking, are you in any, do you have any idea of directing another episode in the upcoming season?
Yes. Yeah, in this one, though, I can't tell you a single thing about what happens in it because we have the Warner Brothers snipers all around this room. But yes, the short answer is yes.
And there's one last thing I want to say. This is something I found on the internet regarding HR. It's something I really like. It said, this is the quote. There's no I in team, but there is an HR in hero. I found that on the internet, and I really like that.
I appreciate you giving credit for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you credit. That's tremendous. Very generous of you.
Thank you both. Have a good time and make it fun.
Thank you.
so much.
HR sacrificed himself. What a good dude.
Hi. My question is for Tom. You play so many different versions of Harrison Wells throughout the last few seasons of Flash. And I was just wondering, how has that been acting-wise for you? Has that been really challenging to create different versions of what is essentially the same person?
It's tremendous. I don't want to, it's all, he knows, I hate these questions where I have to talk about myself. So, no, it's good. It's a tremendous, it's a lovely question. But for any actor, it's a privilege, right? You get to, first thing, you get to do a show with people that you love, and that show actually goes as opposed to being canceled in 17 seconds. That's amazing. So that's one thing. And then you get to, generally when you're on a show that runs for a long time, you don't get to have different iterations of Killer Frost and Caitlin Snow, H.R. Wells, Steve Arthon, Reverse Flash, all these guys. And so that's one of the tremendous things about our show is that there's opportunities for the actors to not just play Sam Malone and Cheers for 10 years, but rather to invent new things as we go along. Keeps it fresh for us, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity. There's nothing I love more than doing a scene with Danielle Panabaker. When she's not available, I like doing a scene with myself against myself. I love the fact that Harry hates HR, thinks he's an idiot, and that HR thinks Harry is amazing.
So
Yeah, so there's really something really great about a dumb guy facing off against a smart guy, and so that's the kind of opportunity that our show provides, and I consider it a privilege.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look slightly because this ventures into anything they say about something that's coming up down the road.
I will say, we don't, I mean, maybe Tom knows more than I, but I don't know anything about season 4. So I can't really speak to what we know. We don't know anything. Well, I don't know anything.
You're not in season 4.
I want to go hang with Melissa. I want to go play on Supergirl.
Melissa's one of those annoying people. She's talented and good and kind, and oh god, I wonder you're her friend.
Hello. Hey guys, it's a pleasure.
kind of related to the question before, I guess, but with the different interpretations of Wells, would you, to the both of you, I guess, is there you have kind of like a favorite interpretation, and if so, why?
So I think we kind of like ventured into this question a couple times, right? Like, is there...
I can change it if it's too good.
Well, Wells, it's fun to play a Wells, and I signed on to the show to play the Reverse Flash. So that's one of my favorite things to do, and I think for Danielle as well. You know, there's only, you know, these things have become popular or mainstream popular in the last, you know, within the last decade. And you think about it, there's only a girth of actors across the planet. There's only a small select few that get to put on a super suit or a villain suit, or, you know. And I think both of us feel like this is like in terms of acting. You know, Affleck gets to put on the Batman suit, and so does Christian Bale. But there's only a small number of people that get to actually put on one of these iconic suits from a comic book that has run for a century, you know. And both of us feel extremely grateful that, you know, with Killer Frost and with the Reverse Flash, we're, in terms of box checked, we get to check a box where we get to actually put on a super suit and kind of like pretend that we're cool for a little while. It's a fun thing, it's a privilege to be able to have that.
Absolutely.
Got